So as we get closer to my most anticipated film of all time, The Batman, I thought it's finally time to review a lot of the Batman movies. I'm going to be talking about the ones from 1987 to 1997, the live action ones, so Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin, and then I'm going to have a special video talking about the Dark Knight trilogy, because I feel like I can't just review them because that's my favorite trilogy of all time. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Actually, you know what, that's a surprise. But anyway, in 1989, Tim Burton was given the challenging task of bringing to life Gotham, the Joker, and most importantly, the Caped Crusader himself, and man did he succeed. I have always loved this movie. One of the main reasons I want to talk about these movies is because of how important they are to me, or at least this one in particular. Compared to the other Batman ones, this is my favorite of like those, you know, the four that I mentioned there. This one, Returns, Forever, and Robin, like those ones. This one is easily my favorite. Spoilers for my review of the other ones, but this one is by far my favorite, and it always has been. I've always loved this movie. When I was younger, I used to watch this a lot. I still actually up on like two shelves that have the DVD copy that has Batman. It has all those four movies, and I used to always put in that one. And the discs, there was only two discs in there, so you'd have to flip just depending on which side, which movie you wanted to watch. So that's how many times I've seen. I also think the disc is like insanely scratched up because of how many times I watched this, and I've seen all those ones quite a bit, but none more than this one. But in all honesty, I think the reason I've seen this one the most is because of the rewatchability. Obviously, I love it, but also it's so rewatchable. I mean, I watched it last year, like just randomly out of nowhere. I don't even remember why. But then, of course, I had to watch it again before The Batman, and I loved it. I actually loved it even more. There's so much about this movie that I just adore. And one of my favorite things is how Tim Burton sets up Gotham. I love just the art design, the set design, everything, because every exterior shot looks like a painting. It is a gorgeous movie, and on 4K, it looks amazing. I really love the look of the movie, the cinematography, really interesting. But just talking about Gotham here, I love the way it's shot, and again, it looks like a painting too, and because it is obviously, unfortunately, a fictional place, and it's very wacky and interesting because it's Tim Burton, but it's just so awesome because of that, and it really gives a uniqueness to the film. I think that's a word. But as I dive deeper into the actual comics, I realize how gritty and grim and grungy, if that is the proper way to describe it, that Gotham is. And I just think that for this movie, it is perfect. In the other ones, it wouldn't have worked as much, but for this one, it's perfect. But the acting here, of course, is top-notch. We have to talk about Michael Keaton as Batman, or Bruce Wayne, who, of course, you know, it seems to be this common trend where whenever someone's cast in a Batman movie, everyone's like, oh, why are they playing them? And then they play him, and everyone's like, okay, he was actually really good. And that's what I feel about Michael Keaton, is that, like, you wouldn't expect him, I guess, especially at the time, to play Batman, but he's great. He's great as Bruce Wayne, he's great as Batman. I much prefer his Batman to his Bruce Wayne, but that's just because of the lack of development with Bruce Wayne, although they do some interesting things with him. He's more secretive here. He isn't like some big celebrity like, I guess, with Christian Bale's Batman. Everyone knows the story and stuff. Here, that isn't explored at all, and of course I'm going to talk spoilers here. If you haven't seen the movie, that'd be insane. You have to go watch it. It's amazing. But anyway, I'm going to talk spoilers. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so obviously the whole part about his death, nobody really knows. So when Vicky kind of noticed him go to the alley and then put the roses down, and she has to figure it out, I think that adds a whole new mystery to the movie and adds layers to his character. And there's stuff to do with that plot that I don't love, which I will talk about later. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, but just Michael Keaton's performance is great. He really kind of has that calm, like almost suave businessman, if that makes sense. This one and the next one, he's great in both of them, and his Batman is great. He has a perfect like Batman voice. I mean, I love a ton of them. I love Christian Bale's. I'm actually one of the ones that love it. Yes, Kevin Conroy, great. Ben Affleck, like they're all really good, but his just is really special. It's not my favorite, but it's really good because it's subtle. Like there's a subtle difference between his Bruce Wayne voice and his Batman voice, and it's great. He has so many iconic lines here, and I just love this character. But we have to talk about Jack Nicholson as the Joker, who really is the main reason why this movie is so great. He is insane in this movie, but again, as I start to read the comics more, he is so comic accurate, like just in his movements. You wouldn't expect Jack Nicholson, you know, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest star to do this. Well, The Shining actually, yeah, you can kind of see it, but here, I mean, he just has so many of the actions down. Some of my favorite lines, not just of Joker, but just in general. I think the quote, You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? Has always been in my head. I remember, watching that as a kid, and it's been one of my favorite quotes ever since. It doesn't really make sense, and I don't really know the meaning of it still, but I still love it. But I just love the way that Jack Nicholson plays this, especially opposed to Keaton. I think that they have a great contrast, and to do with whether you're talking about Bruce Wayne versus Joker or Batman versus Joker, I think it all works really well. And actually, there's a scene where Batman kills someone here. Like, people always talk about it, people always complain in like Snyder's films when Batman kills people, but Batman definitely kills this guy here. Watch this. There is no way that guy lived, but still, I love that final showdown. I actually have a Funko Pop, it's way up there, so I won't grab it, of that final scene. Joker puts on the glasses and stuff. It's great. It's a really great ending. My one problem, though, is the whole thing with Joker killing Batman's parents. Like, it doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense. You can have one of Joker, I mean, he was a Joker at the time, but still, you can have one of his men kill the parents and that'd be fine, something like that. But having him when he was younger do it, I know they probably tried to do it to connect the characters, but to me it doesn't make any sense. It's weird. And then as soon as like Bruce is like, oh, you killed my parents, whatever, like when he's Batman actually kind of at the end of the bell tower, and then Joker knows automatically, I'm just like, that's kind of weird, because knowing, what this character, of course, Jack, as we could say, does, he's probably killed a lot of people, probably killed a lot of parents, but somehow instantly he knows, and it's weird. I've never liked it. I don't think I will, and it holds back the movie for me, and the movie's like 2 hours. Some of the pacing in kind of that second act into the third act is a little weird. The first act is great, but there are moments where it drags, or stuff is uninteresting, and yes, it's from 1989, there's Prince music, and it's really exciting. Of course, I love Prince. Who doesn't love Prince? And actually, the song Bat Dance has always been a childhood staple of mine. I don't know why I coughed there. I love that song so much. That song is awesome. It's not actually in the movie, but it's on Prince's version of the soundtrack. Give it a listen if you haven't. But, there's iconic fun sequences where Joker and his men are dancing around and vandalizing a place. And it's fun in the moment. And I can see Joker would do some of this stuff, but at times it definitely can seem like too much. And I wouldn't say it's performance-wise. It's just writing-wise. This film is just amazing overall. I've watched it a million times, and I'm going to watch it a million times more, especially on 4K, because it really does look great. This came out, I don't know, like 2 years ago or something, and it's still like the 4K holds up super well, and the film just is so much fun. It's so much fun. I watch it. I love it every single time. Out of the pre-Dark Knight movies, I'd say, at least definitely for live action, this one is by far my favorite. Tim Burton's Batman is a classic that I have always and will always love. Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne is cool, but it's Jack Nicholson's Joker that makes this movie, full of entertaining sequences, dark undertones, and classic Burton moments. This film will never get old. I'm going to give Batman 1989 a 4 out of 5. Again, it's great. I will watch this movie a million times. I'm interested to know what you guys think, because I know that people who didn't grow up like really watching this movie all the time or loving it, I guess, they kind of have different thoughts on it. Some people think it's just okay, but for me, I've always thought it was a really good movie. And considering I've seen it so many times, I will say when I watched it like a few nights ago, I kind of tried to push most of the nostalgia away. I wanted to bring it up in the review, of course, but I was like, okay, I gotta be critical, and there are definitely things to critique. There are definitely moments and stuff that doesn't really work, again, when it comes to the writing, but I know there was some interference, so, we've kind of come to expect that nowadays, but still, I love this movie so much, and very soon I will be reviewing the sequel, Batman Returns, another film that is very good. I don't like as much. I know a lot of people really love this one, but you will hear my thoughts on it very soon. But thank you all for watching. Make sure to come back for my review of The Batman on March 2nd. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.